My name is Taf Diallo, and I'm a screenwriter. And here are 5 exercises that you can perform to elevate your game. First exercise that I recommend is to transcribe a screenplay from a produced TV show or movie. I want you to pick some aspect of your screenwriting that you feel is lacking, whether that be writing a comedic scene, witty banter, or a romantic moment between 2 lovers, or action between 2 conflicted individuals. Find a movie or TV show that has that, and then find the screenplay for that. Preferably the scene is 5 to 10 minutes, which 1 minute per page is 5 to 10 pages, and transcribe verbatim. Whatever's written in the screenplay is what you're gonna write. And don't make adjustments as you're writing it through. You're an automaton in this place. You're doing exactly what the screenwriter wrote. You're gonna write exactly what's on the page. Once you're done, go back to the top and then read it again with a more discerning eye. Figure out what aspects of the screenplay translated well to the screen. Figure out what was cut out, what was left on the cutting room floor. I'm not telling you to just take whole cloth. I'm just saying that what are aspects of the screenplay that inspire you to do something similar? This allows you to internalize the conventions of screenwriting already, internalize cadence and pacing, internalize emotional tenor, color, and all around good screenwriting. And don't think too much about it until you've completed the verbatim transcription. And at the bottom, take all the notes that you've made and put a summary of what you've learned, what you would do, what you wouldn't do, and what worked. And do that before your screenwriting day, maybe 3 to 4 times a week. I found that helped me a lot. The number 2 exercise that I would recommend marries the creative side with the professional side of your screenwriting. It's creating a pitch document for a movie or a TV show you have in mind. It doesn't have to be the best thing. Just a couple of ideas I'm sure are floating in your head. Pluck them from the ether, put them down on the page. And it doesn't have to be precious. 5 to 10 pages of what this story is about, but high level view. Don't get too granular. And what that would be your title page, and then source a lot of images that can capture the essence of the world this story takes place in. And I mean, I'll show you, for example, detective show that I was thinking about the last couple of weeks. I just went down and spent the day just putting it together, right? And it's the title page, and then you've got, pictures of the locale, but then you also have the log line as your first major text block. Then you have your premise as your next page. Then you have your summary of the pilot, summary of your film, if that's the case. Create a season if it's a TV show. 1 page would suffice. And then brief description of the main characters of this story. And then lock it away. Once in a while, come back and just refine it. But what I find helpful and useful for me as I create these pitch documents is it helps me refine the story even more before I even start writing Fade It. I know who my character is. I know what story I'm trying to tell. And also, 1 page you might want to add is a why now. What's in the zeitgeist that compels you to write this story? And by the time I'm ready to write the story, I've had other people look at this pitch document. I'm inspired by the images that I've taken, that I've compiled together, and I have an anchor, or better yet, I have a North Star of where I'm headed. But that shouldn't limit you in terms of veering and meandering and going another direction, but at least you're starting from somewhere. It gives you that confidence, that empowerment to be able to go, hey, I'm confident that I know where this is going to head, but I'm also open to new avenues. Do 1 to 2 a month. I find that helpful. So by the end of the year, I may have 12 to 24 pitch documents for TV shows and movies that you'd love to explore further. So if a producer asks you above and beyond just your outline, you already have it baked in what this whole story is about. And it also helps you practice plot development, practice character development, where you're starting from and where you're going to, and thematic ranges that you're going to explore. And once you start writing a script, you already have this muscle that's trained to explore all these different components of screenwriting. The number 3 exercise that I would recommend that I do once in a while is if I'm struggling with the character voice of someone in a script, it is I write a monologue in their voice, prose style, quotation marks and everything. And I try to capture their inflection, their cadence, try to capture the tone. I try to capture the depth and the simplicity, the level of intelligence. I try to capture everything. I try to be on the nose, backstory, throw everything in there, but always do it from their perspective. And then when I get back to the script, boom, I've got a new avenue, a way of exploring a certain scene because I have validated the reason for being by doing so. And if that's true, what else is true? And that opens up a lot of avenues. At its most, I'll do 2,500 words. If I'm in a rush, I'll do a page, right? So, yeah, write a monologue in the character's voice, prose style, not dialogue. The 4th exercise that I would recommend a beginner to do is to read screenplays from their peers. Join a group of like-minded, maybe not like-minded, join a group of screenwriters who are trying to pursue the same goal as you are to get their work produced, and read their script and give them notes. Write your scripts, give it to them, and let them give you notes. I find that my journey being part of a screenwriting group, an open one without any judgment, can help not exponentially increase your talent, but definitely puts you on the fast track. Because instead of just having one person read your script, you have 5 to 10 people giving you different ideas. But generally there's a consensus and you know what's working and what's not. And you can make changes on a faster timeline than if you were just doing it by yourself or asking one person to read it and it's real time. And you can have discussions and you can try to not necessarily justify, but try to get into the granular at that point. And during those meetups, that's a perfect time to exercise that muscle of being in a writer's room, building up at somebody else's pitch, exploring ideas, and it's the best thing you can do for your work. And the 5th one, the final exercise, I have to give you a little caveat. It's to refine your old scripts. With all these exercises you're doing, you're building up that muscle. Ideas are bound to pop up. So go back to old scripts and make adjustments. You have all these scripts in your pile, in your sample pile or in your slate. Make sure you make fine-tune adjustments. The caveat is that they'll get bogged down in the past. Don't be caught up with all this old work just because you're trying to avoid the new work that you need to do. So that's why it's the last exercise that I would recommend. It's not necessary, especially when you're starting off. But as you kind of progress in your career, go back. Do some fine-tuning, do some adjustments, crank the neck, open up the back a little bit, loosen up some of the joints. Yeah,